Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Tarot is Ridiculous, because it really is. And if you have been watching these podcasts, all these on YouTube or on Facebook, or if you're just hearing these on the new Spotify channel, you will know that we've had some fascinating conversations with people across the tarot world. And one of the things that I have loved about this is bringing in so many different people from our tarotverse and showing you so many unique ways to use these 78 cards, and also just to see how it has changed our lives and how we're using it in our lives. And the guest I have today, I think, uses tarot in some really unique ways. So I'm really interested in where this conversation is going to go. So let me bring our beautiful guest on today. Hello, Kate.
Hello! Thank you so much for inviting me on, Leeza. Y'all who are watching will see all sorts of stuff going on in the background because I am at the hotel for convocation and one of the oldest pagan gatherings that I'm presenting the Tarot show in on Friday. So yeah, there's bustle and noise, and it just is what it is. So thanks for rolling with me, because it was
which brings tarot into real life, right? Which brings tarot into real life. We're bringing tarot into real life, right? This is where tarot is not just to be hidden away. It's in all aspects of our lives, including busy business centers in a hotel where this is the only place you can get a Wi-Fi channel. Tell us a little more about what you're doing at this conference, because I think that's really interesting.
So it's called the Tarot Show, and it's something that I started doing in 2018. Dear friend and founder of Scossomness Productions, Stephanie Alvadraz, and I were having a conversation one day, and the question came up: what would happen if I gave a tarot reading to a group of people, as a group of people? And we got all of the good body tingles of like, ooh, we are asking the right questions. And so I did 3 test performances over my birthday that year, and they were wildly successful. And excuse me. And from there it grew. It not only grew in terms of a performance piece that is also a very legitimate group tarot reading where everybody in the audience works on pulling the cards. The cards are read intentionally for that group as a whole, with all of the seasonal and situational door closing realities or door opening realities that weave into it. And after doing it in that vein for a little while, probably a year, I realized that this would also be a fantastic form of alternative team building for businesses and other groups of friends, and started doing that. And then the pandemic hit, and I pivoted to basically only doing what then shifted to being group tarot readings for businesses, where I take away some of the performative elements. I don't usually sing as much. I don't tell as many stories, although telling some of the herstory of Pamela Coleman Smith is foundational in each and really important, because everybody needs to know the name Pamela Coleman Smith, in my not at all humble opinion. And I also do them through Zoom and in real life, and now hybrid. I tested a hybrid version about a week ago, and so all of the 5th Sunday performances of the Tarot show that I'll be doing with Fuse Theater Ensemble will now be hybrid, because I also know that works, which was very exciting to learn.
That sounds like such a lot of work, which kind of brings us into our card today. Like, when you're saying that, I'm like, wow, that sounds intense and a lot of work. And what a great way to lead into our card of the day. our card for this show, and it's the Eight of Pentacles. So this is one of the cards that you selected as one of your favorites. So I'm going to let you tell me why this card, and is it because like what you do is a lot of work?
Partially, yes. When I was first studying tarot intensively, because my tarot journey started with a lot of self-learning, and reading of books, and reading for friends and family with the book for about 3 years, and then I did a really deep dive with Matthew Allen in Chicago. And when we were working together, I nicknamed this card, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice." Because I work in theater. So like that is something that makes sense and resonates to me. And I love how in different iterations of this Eight of Pentacles, there can be the I'm doing the work because I love it and it's a beautiful day, and like, yes, let me do all of the things. And I'm doing the work because I'm manic and I just have to keep going, and I have all of these ideas and I need to get them out on paper, and I know like I need to create the things. And wait, when was the last time I ate? I don't know. What time is it? To very different illustrated versions that are about the connections made. And so for me, the Eight of Pentacles is very much a reminder of, even when I am in habits that can become mundane or taxing, or I don't really want to do this today, that there is still something that I can find to fall back in love with, that there is still something that maybe I'm not going to work on the computer today. Instead, I am going to go analog. Like all of my writing is going to be pen and paper and no computers.
I love that, because like one of the things that like I've noticed about this is one of the things I love about having guests talking to other tarot people, is how they interpret this. Because when I designed this card, the one here for the Soul Cats Tarot, the Eight of Pentacles, one of the things that really was noticeable for me is like, this is kind of like how I work. I kind of work really behind the scenes. Nobody's quite sure what is happening or goes on, and then every so often someone gets a peek into my world, and I feel like that cat. Like I feel like that cat's like, what are you looking at? Why are you here?
This is my sacred workspace.
Exactly.
Did I invite you? I don't know.
Which always kind of brings me back to the workaholic nature of this card. Like, and I know that for myself, and for especially when I do work with entrepreneurs, the Eight of Pentacles comes up usually with some, the Ten of Wands, because they've burnt out. But it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, you might be addicted to work if this card comes up a lot.
And if it comes up in tandem, yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what is a real life situation you could put towards this card? So if you think about this card, like what would be like one of the most ridiculous life situations that you've had where you were like, oh my God, this is like a true Eight of Pentacles moment. What the hell is wrong with me?
Well, because for me, so much of it ties much more into practice and rehearsal and repetition rather than workaholicness. For me, the first story that is coming to mind is when I was the choreographer for a high school production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and just how many times as the choreographer and dance captain I had to drill and drill and drill, because my belief with choreography from when I was a kid to present day is that it is always, almost always better to create choreography that's just a little harder than the people dancing think they can actually do. Because if it's easier than what they can actually do, they won't necessarily give it like their full attention. And even though they could make it like fantastic and beautiful, it's like, nope, this is easy, so I'm just doing it easy. But if you make it just a little harder so that there has to be more practice and more repetition, it makes everything actually better because they feel accomplished because they actually rise to the situation of learning something that is harder than they thought it was. And and so yeah, that is the first like real life story that comes
I
up.
love that. I love that because to me, this is part of this card anyway, isn't it? Reward comes from hard work. So, like, if we were reading it literally, reward does come from hard work. Reward does come from doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Reward comes from creating new habits that are difficult at first until we achieve them. Reward comes when we can make a commitment to something to show up again and again and again. So to me, like, these are still all elements of this card as well, that really shine through. And as you said, that repetitious nature of the work. It's the work. And being in an 8-year, I feel like this card has even more like prominence, and like maybe we should all be thinking about the 8 of Pentacles this year because we are in an 8 calendar, an 8 cyclic year.
Completely. And and for me there is a little added layer because I have a personally very tenuous relationship with 8s. And so the more things that I can welcome into my life or that I find to welcome into my life that are 8s in a way that are wonderful and curiosity sparking rather than rooted in childhood trauma is fantastic.
I love that. Yes, let's not keep repeating habits from trauma.
Exactly. Let's use the gifts of the cards to help break those cycles, which is
So
also one of the things that ties in with the 8s that I love.
Right. So like, but I think that could also like be mindful what other cards show up with this one.
Totally.
Because if it is showing habits, if it is showing repetition, have a look at the cards that pop up next to it if this comes up in a reading and see, are you repeating patterns from the past? Are you reliving? Are you stuck in a bit of a habitual trauma loop? Or are these new things, are these life-giving things, are these things that are going to excite you and light you up and actually give you that sense of fulfillment and achievement and purpose and service that the majority of us actually are really striving for?
Completely.
Yeah, so I think like that's important. So like if you see some of those other cards like 5 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles, you know, that 9 of Wands, like is repetition just like, is this a form of self-punishment? Like, is this like, is it enough? Like, could you just go now and do it?
Yeah, where if this 8 of Pentacles comes near the Star or the High Priestess, then yes, that work and that repetition that you are doing is bringing you to that place, that higher,
new heights. That would be like new heights, right?
New heights, absolutely.
I would love to see that, like with a. Now this could be a deliberate spread that you put on an altar if you want to get to a new elevated success. It could be the Star, the 8 of Pentacles, and then say maybe like the Queen or King of the King or Queen of Pentacles, because like then you've got this elevated sense of success or this elevated sense of shining, right? If you did want this elevated awareness or consciousness or education or new skill, then yeah, something like the High Priestess or even maybe the Hierophant might go well there, right? So we could do this deliberately in order to use this beautiful fine-tuned frequency inside the Eight of Pentacles for success and achievement. I love that. Thanks, Kate. Now, Kate, we have reached time. How do people get in touch with you, and how do they become part of your world?
You can find me at grouptarot.com, and I happened to bring my little QR code that takes you to my link tree that has all of the things. So hopefully that will work if you are curious.
Pause the video, take a shot with your camera. It should open up.
Do those things. Yes, Kate at grouptarot.com is my email. Grouptarot.com is my website, and you can find all of my different individual and corporate services there.
Fantastic. Kate, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your incredible spin on this Eight of Pentacles cards. I love chatting with you. I feel like we could do a whole day where we just talked about nothing but tarot and we'd never get bored.
I am completely and utterly for that one day, Leeza. Maybe we do a 24-hour marathon for charity one day.
Oh, that would be incredible. That would be so great. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today's episode of Tarot is Ridiculous. And if you did like this episode and you are watching it on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe so the algorithm keeps pushing it out so everyone else can see it. All right, everyone, thank you. See you next week. Bye for now.